Director of Marketing and Outreach at Lindner Center of Hope. Thank you for joining us for our last pre-community education session of 2024. We do have our schedule available for 2025, so be sure to check that out. I want to thank our friends with Paramedic Network and community partners for hosting our folks online this evening. We're excited to have you all join. Tonight is a little bit different format. We're at the Y and a little bit more of a talk show type format tonight. So presentation from our guests. First, I'd like to give a quick little overview of Lindner Center of Hope. We are a comprehensive mental health center located in Mason, Ohio. By comprehensive, that means we have really full services for adolescents, adults, and even children. We have outpatient offerings, but then we also have inpatient services for folks that have more acute needs. We also have a partial hospital program, IOP, and then we also offer a number of support groups and residential services as well. So if you are unfamiliar with our services, be sure to check us out at lindnercenterofhope.org. And without further ado, we're going to go ahead and hand the microphone over to Tom and Valerie. Thanks, Jen.
You're Val.
I'm Val.
And I'm Tom.
You're Tom.
Right.
Yes.
It helps us.
Tom Parker here is, what is your title? Director of External Relations. He also happens to be a social worker and a pastor.
And Valerie is the head of our spiritual care center.
Yes.
And we decided that this was a good time to talk about how to have a cool Yule. We're grateful you have joined us this evening. We know the holiday season oftentimes is what we see on television. And not like the background is, it's not often what we see, right. We want it to be like the television show, but it's not like the television show. You know, the small town bakery where everyone knows your name, you might watch those shows. The image of the holidays often collides with our real life experiences. Often we're not so joyful and we're not feeling all that great. And sometimes our company can get on our very last nerve. Well, tonight we're going to dig into the topic of how to have a cool Yule, even if it's not the one you see on television. And we will offer some ways on how to dig out of the snow drifts. Right, Val?
So you've probably heard that phrase, it's the most wonderful time of the year. There's a song about it. But for many, many people, it is not the most wonderful time of the year. It might be the hardest time of the year. So I've been thinking a lot about this and why this is so. So I wanted to talk about a few things that I see that make this time harder than maybe the rest of the year. And I'm going to call them the whats. The whats. W-A. What the H? Not watts. Whats. And the first one is what we want to happen. And it kind of goes along with what Tom was saying about the movies. You know, there's this perfect image we have of things, and then all those Hallmark movies have these perfect endings. And if you're old enough, you remember Norman Rockwell pictures of the perfect Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner. So I thought maybe some of you might want to share some of the things that you want to happen with your holidays. What do you envision?
I'll share.
Okay.
I love a certain food item, and it's called icebox cake. And when I first was married, I would say, or I said, my wife, let's have icebox cake. And she said, oh, it sounds really good. And then she didn't eat it. She didn't like it. And then she said, I'll make my favorite crock pot meal for Christmas. And I didn't like it. And I learned that everybody has a favorite Christmas. kind of item and not everyone loves it. What's your favorite Christmas food?
Oh, my mom's, white powdered cakes.
Those little white powder
Yeah,
cakes.
they're rolled up with, pecans.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
like
my
little
mom-
sandies or
Yeah,
mom-
ready
yeah,
cookies, yeah.
Yeah, those are really good.
Okay.
What's your favorite Christmas food?
I don't know if it's specifically Christmas, it's kind of Christmas, it bridges Christmas and Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
it's a cranberry pineapple jello.
I love that. Fried,
Cranberry pineapple
Well,
jello.
Yeah.
It's dissected kind of.
how about you? Well,
So we have Norwegian heritage and we always make a bread called lapsa.
Say that again. Laps,
Lapsa,
lapsa.
Lefsa.
and
Yes.
what's in that?
It's like a rolled potato bread.
Oh, I. think I've got
That sounds
this.
lovely.
Anybody, what about you guys? What's your favorite? I know you like deep fried everything, so.
I look forward to all of it, but I think Buckeyes are one of my faves and probably monkey bread, which is amazing for Christmas morning.
Christmas one. Monkey bread, yes, we used to make that all the time.
How about you? Have any favorite?
Sure, you can. We always contribute.
Sure, share with each other.
What's interesting is not everyone has the same thing,
It's true.
right?
It's true, but we want things to happen in a certain way. I think, there's several places we get these ideas from. Good childhood memories, we have them of our holidays, right? Those silly movies and other media that has a kind of pushes us toward this perfect kind of holiday season kind of attitude. Sometimes, do you have, maybe two dads in your neighborhood who compete against each other for the best lights on the street? I mean, sometimes there's this competition thing that happens with us, or a perfection thing. Everything has to be just so, if those cookies don't look right. I know someone who used to make them press us. She wouldn't. If it didn't come out in presses, she wouldn't put them out. That kind of thing. We have this perfection thing we want, and our standards can be too high, really, sometimes. And the other thing is about other people's expectations. Maybe after grandma died, mom is, kind of gets to help host the holiday whether she wants to or not, and it's been going on for years and years, and she doesn't want to. She wants something else to happen, maybe something else to take over. So sometimes we are under, those kind of restraints or holidays. My second one is what we don't want to happen. And we all have our favorite Uncle Ed who tells inappropriate jokes, or, you know, the brother who comes in and drinks 10 beers in 2 minutes and wants to talk politics with the, you know, with his cousin and all those kind of things that happen. We also don't want to happen, I think sometimes we feel like we might be alone. Some people fear no one shows up to us thing or whatever. So that's the second one. The third one is what has happened. And here I'm talking mostly about maybe things that we missed. Losses, people, most of the times as we think of in the holidays, we grieve over the people we've lost. And that can make this time of year very hard, but you may have also lost other things that are very important to you that kind of get amplified this time of year. Maybe you got divorced recently and suddenly, you have to share Christmas with your ex and your kids. It's not gonna be the same. Or maybe you lost your job right before the holidays. How am I gonna pay for this? So that stress is on you. Anything that, kind of, you have kind of start thinking, wow, it's never gonna be the same again. That could be one of those things that gets into this little category of what has happened. Yeah. And then the last one is what might never be, or what could never be. And originally I didn't have this in here, but when I was practicing this, I started thinking about my own grief at this holiday time, and the things that most bother me around this time, and I'm sure other people feel this way too. I did not have children, we don't have any kids, so at this time of year, this is all about family and children, and now that I'm granny age, it's grandchildren, and that's a never can be thing. And even though I've resolved this and I'm okay with it normally every day, at this time of year and other times of year, it can be really difficult. You may have, lost someone really young, and they can never be with you, that kind of thing. I also want to bring up pet loss in this as well. It's okay to grieve your pet at this time of year. My dog used to like to be right in the middle of everything, so, and, well, these whats have three kind of things kind of in common. Expectations, the relationships involved, and grief. And so, I think these all bring out really, really big emotions for us. And they, again, I keep using the word amplified, but that's what happens, but things seem bigger in the holiday season. And so I want to first say that anything you're feeling over any of this stuff is normal. You're not the only one who feels this way. Even though I make you feel that, particularly in the grief process, it is a natural process that we all go through whenever we lose something important to us. And it doesn't have to be important to you, but if I lost it and it's a huge sale, I might be grieving it. I often use the thing of Johnny's bike gets run over by his dad. You know, dad says, we'll just get you another one, but Johnny liked that one, you know? So anything like that is important to us that we've lost. We might be grieving this time of year. Only time, really. We're not listening to anyone. So. Yeah, so secondly, we would like to know how to deal with these things better, right? And in the moment, when I get a big emotion, when stress gets a little bit too much for me, for you, or whoever's around you. Tom has some ideas about that.
I do.
You were supposed to.
I think I would.
You were supposed to.
I think I'm gonna name my part of this, how not to get upset when someone doesn't like your icebox table. Isn't it funny interesting how we each have our own, like, that really made me mad. I'm still wounded about that. I grew up with this, and so I'm not making it anymore, which is really, really sad. I might, but I may take it to my corner and eat it without getting criticized, but it shouldn't bother me, right? Like, I should know that. Well, how can I not let this stuff, damper my rule? Well, here are some skills, right? Okay, let's dig our way out of the snowbanks in each of the identified areas. And these are the areas of expectations, grief and other strong emotions, and relationships. That kind of covers really every day of life, but when you have a holiday season, it seems like things can get kind of snowdriven. Let's start with expectations. All kidding aside about the made-for-TV holiday movies that are picture perfect. I mean, I still watch them. Life is just not like that most of the time. You just can't live up to those expectations. Although it is kind of fun to fantasize of Norman Rockwell Christmas, but what happens if you live in Hawaii and you don't get snow? Does that mean you don't have a cool Yule? Well, it probably isn't a cold Yule, but how do you work on expectations? I do know that my holidays are not always perfect. In fact, I have this fantasy, this expectation that I've seen enough movies too, that I want to be in New York City on Christmas evening, you know what I mean? And you have that expectation, someone's invited you to that special party, and well,
I know
you know
what
what I mean? Like, and I was in New York this last week and there was no snow, it was raining. I'm like, this isn't right. Okay, expectations. In order to have a cool Yule, one that we can enjoy and not lose our cool, or not romanticize, over romanticize, or even dread. I mean, there's this continuum of, I want it to be incredible and I'll yearn for that, or I'm gonna go lock myself in a room and not do anything.
Or you expect it's always been bad and it's gonna be
Yeah.
good this year.
Right. Oh, yeah. Well, our holidays are what they are. Our families are who they are, good or bad. Same with our friends, joyful and tearful, all at the same time. Both and. So here's a skill. Radical acceptance of this reality is really good for the soul. Radical acceptance that it's not going to be the perfect holiday season, and that's okay. Radical acceptance of Uncle Buck, the movie, you can see that, showing up it's going to be okay. Radical acceptance, be mindful. Maybe even resetting your expectations. Being present in each moment with a deep breath, saying to yourself, it's okay. I can have peace. Breathe in and out.
That's also a skill,
You know, the
breathing
peace,
exercises,
you
you know.
they help, but setting realistic expectations is good for the soul every day of the life, especially holiday season. Yeah, I'm already getting the house ready with my wife for visitors, and they're not visitors, they're family, and I'm already a little anxious. So I'm kind of lowering my expectation that things are gonna, there'll be kids running around and it's okay. I'm used to having it my way. It's okay. Get this one, lower your expectation. That doesn't mean go to your room and lock your door. Don't give up, right? You don't expect too much, but kind of just put somewhere in the middle. The life in the middle. That's the first one. Managing expectations. And I think I have to take a deep breath and slow down for sure. And not go full steam ahead and try to make everyone's holiday happy too. And yeah, go ahead.
Really good one for that.
Hey, what?
Yeah, sure.
So, last year I was very ill, and so the holidays went to the wayside for my whole family.
Yeah.
So this year I have a brand new granddaughter. All I want is some photos or something like that. So in the mail yesterday comes a package from Shutterfly. And I'm like, hey, that's like, you know, photos spiraled up and someone made it for you and whatever. But no one said they were sending it.
Oh,
So I don't know who it's from. I don't know what it is. I don't know anything. I just put it under the tree. So my spouse comes home and says, who's that from? I said, I don't know. So it's either gonna be really good from the girls,
yeah.
or it's gonna be an advertisement, but we're gonna find out and open it on Christmas morning.
Okay.
So we're gonna open something.
You're gonna open something, right? That's a good attitude. I mean, managing your expectations.
Yeah.
Well, that's the first one, expectations. Not everyone's gonna like your icebox cake, and that's okay. How about grief and other strong emotions? Let's talk about how we feel during this time of year. I'm using this illustration because I think you all know they're carpenters. We were singing their songs earlier, and they're.
Unless you were born after 1990.
Well, she's like, do not use that one, but I'm gonna
No, I
use
love
it.
the carpenters too.
Well, I just celebrated with them 50 years of close to you, so there you go. But their new Christmas album's out, it's called Christmas Once More, and I couldn't wait to get it. I've heard all those songs, but I wanted to hear them again because there's no place like home for the holidays and Merry Christmas, darling. Love it. Brings back all kinds of emotions and thoughts. This is the first Christmas without her mother who passed away in July. I mean, really difficult. We set a placement for her at Thanksgiving at her table, we're gonna send it at Christmas. A lot of emotions, a lot of grief. There's a part of me that is unsure of how I will do around family this year. I know I'm listening to my carpenter songs because that's what I do, but I'm not sure how I'm gonna do around family, around that table again. Strong emotions, grief, anxiety, sometimes resentment, anger. There's a lot of water under that bridge. The holiday season can just amplify. I think that's a great way to describe this. Sometimes it's really hard putting on a smile. Some people are good at masking, but some people are not. And sometimes it's not easy smiling when you don't feel like it. When you remember the past, and most recent past hasn't been that good, having company and friends around can be difficult. I've experienced that. I mean, these
Sure,
emotions.
you feel like you want to be alone
Yeah,
with your feelings.
yeah.
Yeah,
But, let's say not but and, I'm gonna learn, I can hold opposites at the same time. And we teach this at the Lindner Center of Hope. And this is something I have learned that I never knew about growing up. Either you're happy or you're mad. Either you're having a good day or you're having a bad day. Either your Christmas is great or it's terrible. And I learned this. This is really helpful to have a cool day and a cool Yule. And that is, I can hold a couple of things at the same time. I can be sad. You know, we had a great loss. And I can still sing Merry Christmas. I can still sing Christmas carols and I can still be sad. It took me my whole lifetime to learn this. But you know, that
and it seems so simple.
it seems so simple.
It's not necessarily. You sometimes have to keep choosing that.
Well, I had to change my but to an and.
Yes.
But you know, like, it's possible if I can say strong emotions and holiday cheer versus strong emotions or but holiday cheer. Anyway, I'm going to bring that up only because strong emotions, we all have them. But it is true during the holiday season, they come up. And by the way, not everyone's going to sit around the table and get this. You're going to be practicing, breathe, breathe, manage expectations, breathe, manage expectations, set your, what did I say? I can hold both, you know, I like you and I hate.
Yeah, well, that might be true.
Right. And breathe. And then someone says something that like really makes you mad, and then you have to breathe more, they're like, what are you doing, breathing? Yes, I'm breathing.
I'm breathing.
Right, I'm breathing, so I don't.
And now I'm leaving the room.
Definitely the room, but go to my room to block the door. Take a deep breath, look around and see, this is really worth setting new expectations and somehow tolerating distress. And that's something else I did not learn growing up. If you were upset, and there really wasn't a way to manage it. But there is a way to manage the strong emotions and to tolerate the distress of going to the table and say, this is gonna be really uncomfortable and I'll be okay. We did this at Thanksgiving, by the way. We set a table, place for my mom, and we were okay. And so now I've accomplished that once, I can do it again. Makes sense, right? So practice helps and debrief.
I will say, it is okay if you're grieving something, especially particularly if it's a new loss or an anniversary of a death at this time.
Yeah.
It's okay not to have your full celebration or even any of it. It's okay to do that. We get this feeling like we have to do things
That's a good point.
and we don't
Yeah.
necessarily have to.
Yeah,
We gotta do what's best for us and our families in the moment.
yeah, that's a great point. But I want to listen to Kirk. And I want to listen to Kirk, right?
Yes, no buts.
No, but it's, so managing expectations, especially this time of year. I guess tolerating the stressful feelings and still experiencing what's good around you. And finally, I want to talk about relationships. We kind of touched on this, but let's hit it again. Does everyone here and watching have great relationships? Well, no, it's not the way it works, right? And during the holidays, it seems like it's even more amplified. So family, friends, people you don't know, people you do know, people at your table, people who you don't want at your table, people who show up with luggage, people you hope to stay at a hotel, people in your home, outside your home, at a restaurant. You have history with many of them. You have good history, you have bad history. And there they are, right there. And usually it's a people at a table, at dinner, and it wasn't a perfect moment. Because you had to admit that you failed algebra. Or what?
Yeah.
But it happens, and there they are, and they're here, and they're right in front of you. Happy holidays. There's a great skill that helps us enter into a holiday gathering. And again, I learned this through Lindner Center, but I love this concept. Often we're not sure about moving forward into a setting, especially a holiday setting. You're walking to someone's house with a gift and you're going, oh boy, here we go. You know, here we go. Now sometimes, and often we just walk in and just lose our cool, or we leave losing our cool. Here's a skill I think is really important for managing relationships. Even if we're a little weary, let's think about how we come into a room, especially a restaurant or someone's house, or how we even bring the turkey out, or how we enter on Christmas morning with our guests and family. Do not hold your arms and frown. Well, what does that tell people around you? You know, you don't feel welcome, you don't want them to be welcome, and then I don't want to be here. And that's easy to do. Not having an attitude of gratitude will really spoil the cool Yule. People around us respond in a different way when we walk in and smile. We teach this at Lindner Center. Raise your eyebrows. Anybody learn this one? What does that do? It's releases all kinds of good stuff, and you feel better, and they go, wow, you really want to be here. Now, maybe you don't really want to be here, but guess what? You'll make it until you make it, and it's really good for you because now you're neurochemistry. I'm not feeling so bad. And so people are like, oh, you're smiling. Well, you always smile. You bring joy to the room. But oh, I guess, okay, I guess I'll smile too. Let's try to have fun. Okay, how to enter a room. This sounds really simple, doesn't it? But it's true. How we enter a room, how we look, not only says how we will do, but how others around us will do.
It's sort of setting your intention for that
That's
event,
really a good way to do it.
that interaction.
And then we open our mouths. And what we say does matter. Sticks and stones can break my bones, but
Words always hurt me.
words always hurt me. How we communicate matters. And how we look and how we stand is a reflection of our hearts and our attitude. And then what comes out of our mouth, this is kind of a theological thing, speaks of the heart. And if you have a heart for people in your room, you're gonna sound like you're not nice. And that can destroy the whole evening. One person during the holidays can upset the whole apple party. And so how we enter a room is really important. And some of the things we're gonna say as we enter the room, if we think that we're not going to be on our cool Yule best, then we have to maybe memorize and practice some statements. This has really been interesting for me because I never thought about it. Working at Lindner Center has a lot of great benefits.
Yes.
It really does. You know, it's just
You
like.
don't even know you're getting them.
You don't know you're getting
Hey,
it. And it's like, oh my gosh, I really
use that
like this.
skill.
It's a Lindner Center. I feel like I've really been through some great treatment. Practice saying comments before you enter a party, a restaurant, a room, someone's house, your kitchen, your living room. For example, I've always loved the holidays. How about you? Well, this is true and positive for me. I have. Or if that sounds too sweet and sugary, then maybe this is a tough time of year for me, and I'm grateful to be here. Maybe that's where I have to start. This is honest and vulnerable. You're sharing something deeper, even with the ones that you may not trust, but you're risking it. Confidence is good for the soul and for gatherings too. And if you can smile if able, that's really helpful. Smiles change the configuration of the table setting and helps release internal and external goodness. So managing expectations, tolerating strong emotions, brief, and keeping in mind relationships are not always easy, can free us from a disappointing holiday season and perhaps bring on a new cool Yule that feels true and authentic. Does that make sense?
Yeah. The other thing about emotions I'd like to say is sometimes the uncomfortable ones, what do we have to do with them? We're gonna sit with them. Pushing them away just sets them up to get a little bigger down the road. Even in this season that we're busy, take the time if the big emotion comes to just sit with them. Or even lean into it. And what I mean by that is, can I share it with a friend? Can I write it down in my journal? Process it a little bit, set it aside for later. Sometimes we just have to, it's the acceptance, radical acceptance piece. It's in one way, our emotions.
I wanted to add to, I attend a lot of conferences around the country on all topics, depression, OCD, and anxiety, and addictions, and sometimes I just don't want to go in a crowded hall with 500 people. And I have started practicing, and not the same as a holiday, maybe it is, I don't know.
Big event.
It's a big event. I will pull my eyebrows up. I'm gonna reiterate this one. This is so good. And I will go in and smile instead of like, who am I gonna find to stand next to? Because and it works. And so these strategies we're talking about are really good all year round. All right, we'll just practice the holidays. Okay, that's my yes. My vulnerability.
Maybe because we're more amplified, maybe we can be more mindful about doing them too. Although we get busy, sometimes I'm not gonna do it right now, and that's okay. We can postpone those things too. And one thing about relationships, you and I didn't talk about this when you were getting ready, but
Yeah.
it occurred to me while you were speaking. Setting appropriate boundaries is vital. If you have an uncomfortable event you have to go to, you don't have to stay forever, right? You can limit your time. You don't have to engage with people who make you uncomfortable. Like you say hello, whatever, and there's another somebody else right after. You can decide what level of involvement you want in the things that are on your calendar. That may be saying no. I'm not doing that, and that's okay. This year I've said a no to quite a few things. I still have the energy. I'm getting old, I don't know. A couple of years ago, that would have made me feel guilty. So-and-so invited me and I said no to them. They're gonna think, blah, blah, blah. You know, they don't like me, or I don't like them, whatever. They probably aren't even thinking that at all. But, yeah.
We have a few minutes here to add on, some thoughts. And as I was watching you, I just think you're really so helpful, so supportive, so heartfelt. Valerie at Lindner Center is, oversees our spiritual care center. And, during COVID, I got to work with her in the chaplaincy department. And I just thought of something as I was as you were talking. If we can keep our cool, we can be a safe place for people. Even if, no matter where we are a safe place. During COVID, our spiritual care center was a safe place. There were crayons and coloring books and snacks. That was really important because we need a safety net, and the holiday season is the same way. We need a safe person.
Or space.
For space, even, yeah, personal space, yeah, because you're providing the space to be with the person, and when people see you in the hallway, you're safe.
Sometimes it's the person, yeah.
And sometimes it's the person.
So finding places sanctuary, the word we like to use in our office. So you can go to it when things are overwhelming. And that can be in your mind, doesn't have to be necessarily physical, but think about where you feel most safe. or who you feel most safe with. And those are the places you go when you're starting to feel like you can't handle feeling unsafe, or whatever the difficult emotion is. If you don't have that, I urge you to find it. We all need to feel safe.
In our tradition, Christmas Eve, many of us go to church and light a candle. Christmas Christmas service, for those of you who haven't done that. And as a kid, I grew up doing that, it felt so safe. And the pastor of our church would say, now we're gonna extinguish our candle. And we just experience a bright light. I want you to remember this moment and go out into the world during this holiday season and be that light, even when it goes out. And that's something I want to do always. Strategy or not, I want to be the bright light and safe place for people wherever I am, so they'll feel comfortable to come up to me and say, man, can you have a cup of coffee? Or that's what I want. That's what I strive for. I use holiday season to kind of turn the light back on in me, even if be like, I wouldn't have no cool rule, but we have to get a title for this one, but kind of a bright, safe rule for people,
What kind of fun?
It's gonna be cool, kind of sounds like I have to be really good on it, but why not just
Jazz music on it.
why some peaceful, like you're safe. That I'm like, I thought about that as we were talking, because you became our safe person, safe place during really tough times. I think sometimes holidays will resemble those tough times. That's actually what happened. That's not in the script.
No, it's not.
Okay, these Christmas trees that are really warm.
I know, they don't.
Whoa, if you see us jumping, it's not just.
We got on having a
It's
big
not just
fire.
fuel building, on fire, you know.
Well, I wanted, to give you a couple things, to actually do, prepare ahead, maybe. What you consider a little well, not a practice, I mean, an exercise. Take those 4 whats, what might happen, what we want to happen, what we don't want to happen, what will never be, all those things. And make a list of all of them. Just write them down, whatever comes to your mind, write them down. And then once you get your mind kind of clear of all those things, go back and I want you to put an X by all the things you have no control of. And then put a check mark by the things you do have control of. And then those things that are kind of in the middle, come up with your own little symbol, for those as well. For me, I'm a visual person for some things, and this kind of exercise has me look at sometimes how much pressure I'm putting on myself. But also helps me see where I can, choose to, either opt in on this or opt out of it, or how I might handle the hard things, choosing how to do that in advance. Sometimes we don't even know what that looks like until we've gotten it out of our heads and onto paper somewhere. Even sharing this with a loved one or a confidant that you know you can trust, and help you figure out that kind of thing. And sometimes that list, it's a long one, can feel a little overwhelming. So pick 1 or 2 that you might want to take care of right now or this year. And then the other thing I would say about this exercise is you need to be real with yourself and realistic with yourself. The 12-course meal that you want to have for your whole family, all by yourself. How realistic is that? Those kind of things. Are you making your expectations bigger than what you can actually do? I think sometimes we do that quite good. I find myself realizing that in the middle of what I'm doing sometimes. Okay, how can we pull back and make this a little smaller so it's not so overwhelming for me? The other thing I want to talk about, is very much a big picture, a bigger picture thing. And this may not be something for right now. Maybe you can ponder it for next year, but think about why you celebrate your holiday. Why? When you figure out your why, all the other things become clearer about, is that even necessary in what we're doing? For those of us of faith, we can come back to why those celebrations began in the first place. For Christians, it's the birth of Jesus. That's the central meaning of Christmas. That can be our why. For those of us who have Christmas as holiday season, or Hanukkah, all those things are more of a community thing, a family thing, a thing for gathering in love and in peace. Remember to put people over things on that list. People over things. Yeah. Or even things, like the food, you know? We'll go to the Chinese restaurant. Anybody know the movie? Christmas story, okay. Yeah. Or buy pizza. My husband wants pizza, so. Anyway, but I'm a big picture person, and, this kind of helps me be true to who I want to be as well. And how I want to live my life and spend those little minutes we have that we don't get back, our most precious resource, time, and who I want to spend it with. And the why can help us really take out all the extra trimmings down to the little big gift of it, what it's supposed to be. Yeah. I do have one little other kind of, you could use my new mantra this past year. Oh, well,
That's not a Christmas song.
no, it's not, but, those are the things you can't control, right? Oh, well. So,
It's good. I thought of one more thing. There's another PS. As I get older, I'm talking about holding, opposites. When you're a kid, the holiday season is all ho, ho, ho. It just is. And when you get older, it becomes a little deeper, and sometimes it's more, I call it holy roller holy. There's something deeper about it. And I just started this year thinking about holding those both at the same time, how to have a ho, ho, ho holiday and still have some sacred space, some holy, holy, holy. And that's kind of what I wanted to add in here, is that this is all about a balance. Again, one of the toughest times of year maybe is because it's confusing. I mean, we say to people, don't overspend, and there are the sales. We say to people, don't overeat, and there's all the food. And we say to people, don't overdo it, and you don't need to go to Winterfest and go to the lights in the zoo. I mean, it's really crazy. And then there's the sacred moment that you can have peace, and it's about relationships, and about fights, and your higher power. And as I get older, I'm really, really working on the celebration and the sacred space. And that's why I wanted to do this presentation with Chaplain Valerie, because she does bring that to my life. She's really fun, and she's saving. And I really follow her. But I need that,
oh my gosh,
that peace.
it's a lot to live up
So
to.
maybe we should have called this thing how to have a peace-filled world. And I'm so grateful we could do this tonight. The therapist to me wanted to do it, which is really fun, and having been part of your chaplaincy team, wanted me to do that part too. And I love the holidays. I just love it. I love this set. And thank you for you guys who set this up for us today. Usually there's a podium and a PowerPoint. We didn't do that tonight. We wanted just something more comfortable,
And
casual.
if you guys have questions,
Yes, yeah.
online or
Yep.
our folks here, or comments.
And if there
we
are,
welcome them.
already gone through all the food kinds of things, and we're done a bit early, but have you have any comments or questions online, or are we good to go? No.
There is, maybe another tool where you can talk to them about. Right. we can talk about more on Thanksgiving, I think, because it's Thanksgiving. But, you know, research does show that those who focus on gratitude have a more content, life, maybe even a happier life. So one thing you could do, I heard this is not my idea, I stole this from somebody else. A mother told me for the Advent days, she was going to, as a family, they were gonna write down one thing they were grateful for every year, put it in a jar. Little gratefulness jar. And, they would do that every day of Advent. For the rest of the year, they would pull things back out, but someone wasn't feeling so grateful or thankful, or they couldn't find anything to be grateful for that day. I thought it was a beautiful idea. A new tradition. It's great.
Well, what do you think?
I think that's a great idea. So I too am a great fan of Valerie. Valerie has helped me through some pretty rough times. She's wonderful. But I am so grateful to just the Lindner Center. The most honorable thing I've ever done in my life was to serve my country in battle.
Thank
The
you.
best thing I ever did in my life is walk through those doors of the Lindner Center and meet her.
So if you are struggling, those who are online here in the room, get a hold of Lindner. Call. Maybe you just need an outpatient therapist, but we have so many, as Jen said in the beginning, we have so many other programs to offer. And if it's an emergency, we have a place to come as well. We want to share our light with you. We see
No.
you, and we want you to come and be well.
Yeah, when we opened 16 years ago, a long time ago. I think we were one of the few freestanding psych hospitals with a spiritual care center. Maybe the
I
only.
tell everybody that,
Yeah.
so I hope it's true.
And not every, by the way, not every program and hospital in the country would add this into their list of offerings.
It's true.
This is really important to me. And, so I guess that's all we have for tonight.
Well,
Thank
our prayer for you is to have a happier, peaceful, full Yule this year.
you. Thank you, Mr. Selman. We appreciate you. This concludes a year of really great trainings. And, anybody want to just say one more thing before we leave tonight about the year and season? We're getting into 2025. I mean, this is it. We're moving out. While the lights are still bright, anybody else in our gang here have anything to say? Yeah.
I just wanted to thank you for the presentation. And the one that came out to me is holding the offices.
Yeah.
And, you know, helping someone to come up,
Mm.
that's daily.
So hoping that someone,
And I really liked using the word, you know, it's all I can do to get here. And you're here.
yes,
Would you like something to eat? Would you like a snack?
that's a perfect example. You're so right.
So I thought that was very helpful for me.
So I just thought of something too, because we're here because we want to talk about the holiday season and we want to be the bright light for other people. But what if they don't get it? Like what happens? So they're ignore that. By scriptures fell on the floor, but we are learning some skills so other people can have a cool deal too, right? That's a really great point.
So I think that idea of setting the tone.
Yep.
And putting on your own oxygen mask first and managing,
Yeah.
because they're doing the best they can.
I mean, how many people really are walking through this season? Just really, like, I mean, you really,
Really love that.
yeah, we don't know, dude. That's a great point. Then.
Life's emotional enough.
Once somebody,
Then
yeah.
you have the Wonder Center and it was.
We're so glad you're here. We're so grateful. Anybody else have anything to add before we clock out and say adieu, and you're gonna end with a solo, right? No, no, okay.